Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry, and with me, after a heck of a long time, it's Swan.
Swan's
back.
I made it.
Thank you, Swan. I don't know why I said thank you, but
Thank you.
yeah, I kept your seat warm.
You didn't. I'm going to be honest. It was pretty cold when I got here.
It's quite chilly
Yeah.
at the moment. We got the space heater going, and we did just thaw out finally from our winter storm.
Yes, which, thank goodness, man. I'm tired of going down my driveway and being like, what game are we playing today?
I didn't leave my house for a solid, 2 weeks in my car. I drove Lucy's car twice during that time. But I finally got out in my car on Saturday, and I broke the scraper from all of the ice that had built up on my car.
Yeah.
I mean, I had, Captain America's shield that I was chucking off of my car.
Yeah, at one
much
point,
ice was on there.
I had to let my car run for about half an hour to start defrosting some of the ice on the windshield so that I could start pulling it up. But the worst was I'll be smart. I'll put my windshield wipers up.
No.
That'll do it. No, the things froze.
They froze in place.
My car was just happy to see me. It was like, what's up, man?
Hey, Swan.
Hey.
Were you driving around with your windshield wipers?
Oh,
up?
yeah.
That's fantastic.
It was great.
That is amazing. That's a situation where you can't go over 45, or else your windshield wipers are just going to fly right off.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't want to go over 45.
Well, I mean, that's fair. It is
Yes.
a pretty dangerous spectacle.
Yeah, it was pretty funny though, because there was 3 of us at work that did that, and we all showed up, and all of our windshield wipers were just standing straight
Touchdown.
up. Yeah, so it was a little funny.
That's awesome.
Oh man.
Well, we got a lot to get to on this episode. We got a little bit of not a little bit of news. We got quite a bit of news, but we are going to be drinking nothing but rye this episode. It's been a while since we've done that, and this is one of the things that Swan can taste the most right now.
Yeah, I'd say my taste and smell, just to preface all this, is probably about 80% back.
That's okay. That's better than I thought it was.
Yeah, after trying a few things, it's about 80%.
Oh, yeah. Swan had COVID, by the way.
Yeah, that wasn't fun. Don't recommend.
Yeah.
But
0 out of 10.
yeah, but I mean, it's on dumb things that I can't hardly get it all back.
Yeah.
And most of it is honestly lower proof bourbon and picking up nuance and flavor.
Mm-hmm.
I can get higher proof stuff. It takes me a few sips. But rye, I've been great with. Brandy, been fine with. Scotch, believe it or not, been pretty good with. Some lower proof bourbons I've had issue. It killed me the first time that I noticed my smell and taste was gone. I was like, well, I'm quarantined. What else should I do? Just have a little drink. And so I was like,
Couldn't even enjoy it.
Elijah Craig tasted like new make. And at one point I had a peated bourbon and Elijah Craig barrel proof. And I was like, why do these taste the same except for the finish? It was insane how muted some things got. Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah. So we're going to be drinking ryes, as we said. A couple of things up top as well. If you have not yet, please leave a rating and review for the podcast here on the iTunes podcast app or whatever podcatcher app you use to listen to the show. If you're not yet a Patreon supporter, of course, patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. $5 a month gets you all of the bonus content, including the pregame chats and the last call. I also apologize for no last call last week. We were in the midst of having to deal with an ice storm, and we also had a baby, and Lucy and I just kind of ran out of time to record that portion of the Patreon stuff. But we got last call this week. So, oh yeah, also, this is my bourbon drinking glass, Glencairns, whiskeyambitions.com.
Absolutely.
Go pick them up. We still got just a little under half left to go. So, yeah, go check those out, please. We are starting out with George Dickel rye.
Yeah, this is our kind of flying blind.
Ish.
It's
an MGP 95.5 rye.
Smells just like it.
It's good. I mean, it's a legitimately good rye whiskey. And I think that just because it says Dickel, it gets overlooked.
Yeah.
But,
absolutely.
I mean, it's not Dickel's actual product. It's MGP's. So I find a lot of joy in this one, personally.
Reminds me a lot of Rossville Union.
Yes.
And as it should.
I forgot. I have one more thing, one more piece of business.
Yeah.
Saturday, I'm doing an all-day special live stream,
Oh,
Sub-a-Thon.
nice.
So, for months, we've been like kind of stagnated at about 500 subscribers, 550-ish. And 1,000 is when you get super chats in YouTube. And I've been using Snuffy Chats, which is our, we kind of outsource. We have other places where we do the super chats. And it's just not convenient for everybody, especially if they're watching on their phone or something like that. So I, Saturday starting at, noon up until I don't know when.
However long my body can handle it.
But we're going to go all day. I'll bring special folks on, special guests, just to drop in, say hey, because I'm going to run out of stuff to say, by hour 3. So if it's just me on my own. So I've got to find other people who will hop on and say hello to me. And then the next day we're going to be recording a podcast. So it might be the lowest energy podcast I will ever record. But all of that's going to happen at youtube.com/thisamybourbonpodcast. So the goal is 1,000. If we get more, we get more. I'm not going to be upset about it.
That'd be fantastic.
It'd be great. I want to play into that algorithm. I got to make a little moolah.
Yeah.
Got to make this a viable gig again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, what have you been drinking recently, Swan? You kind of ran through it all already, actually.
Scotch, brandy. I don't know. I mean, as far as bourbon goes, mostly barrel-proof ryes.
Yeah.
Barrel-proof ryes and high rye ryes have been my jam recently.
Well, aside from the fact that that's about all you can taste right now, that was kind of the inspiration for it, was high rye ryes. Inspiration for this episode, excuse me.
Yeah, no, and it's also just nice because it's been, at least here in Kentucky, fluctuating between 10 and 30 degrees.
Yeah.
And they just warm you up, man.
Yeah.
They're great.
Absolutely.
It's just that time of the year for it.
Oh, man.
What you been drinking?
I picked up another See No Evil the other day from Total Wine.
As you should, man. That pick's phenomenal.
It's so good.
There's 5 bottles left.
I might come back and buy another one. I spent too much on bourbon on Saturday, though. I'm not going to name names or bottles or anything.
Yeah, but you got some good stuff.
Yeah.
And there should be no shame in getting some good bottles.
No. But I also don't need to make all of that public, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of that stuff should just be for Perry.
Some of that's for Perry. Absolutely.
Trying to think what else. What did I do on my stream last week? Oh, I did the Elijah Craig and Larceny A121s, the
Been
barrel
enjoying
proofs.
those.
Man, I tell you, they stepped up their game with this Larceny barrel proof.
Yeah.
Truly, truly, they have created a much more solid product than anything that came out last year. So maybe we'll try a little nip of that on the last call. But I don't know. Nothing too out of the ordinary that I can think of.
Sometimes it's good just to go with the regulars, man.
It is, yeah. And, I've been kind of falling back a little bit more on my rare breed, a little bit more on just a standard Knob Creek single barrel. So, it is what it is. But, you can't have gourmet every night.
That's true. It's true.
Hey, let's get to some news. Why don't we?
Yeah, I've not looked at any of this, so it's going to be nice to kind of see some of this.
Yeah, we're backed up a couple of weeks as well, so I apologize if some of this is a little bit old. But I did want to talk about some stuff in particular, and because especially this first thing, I couldn't ignore because I'm really excited about it. Mm-hmm. But Wild Turkey has now got a virtual bourbon tasting on Alexa and Google Assistant.
Nice.
Have you heard about this at all?
No, I've not heard about that at all.
So what you do is say something like, Alexa, enable Wild Turkey tasting. Or Google, hey Google, talk to Wild Turkey tasting. And they give you options for who you can talk to. There's five different options. Turkey 101, bourbon. Turkey 101, rye. Rare breed, Long Branch, and Kentucky Spirit. and each of them is from different people in the family. So Jimmy, Eddie, Bruce, and Joanne. And there's an additional quote-unquote Easter egg with Matthew McConaughey that gets unlocked as well. So I think this is super cool. I haven't done it yet. I haven't really had the chance to. Maybe we'll do it for the Sub-a-Thon on Saturday too, just for anybody who's not seen it yet. But there's something about this where I don't feel like it's selling out. I don't feel like it's pandering.
No, and they did it at the right time. I mean, during COVID, that's a good time to do it. Had you done this like
April of last year?
Yeah, just cause it might have been different.
Actually, I feel like it could have had a bigger impact in April of last year.
Yeah.
As COVID was really hitting, it would have given people, somebody to kind of drink along with.
That's true. That's true.
So, a friend of the show, Tim Gunderman, who's a longtime fan and friend of the podcast as well, he created some kind of virtual bar atmosphere creator.
Mm-hmm.
So you can slide and choose how much ambiance do you want, bartender talking, is there music in the background, what style of it and everything. It's really cool. It's a really awesome thing. So I need to take the time to kind of get into it. Maybe that'll be tips and bits next week. But regardless, I'm excited about next week, by the way. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's see what else. Oh, Ben & Jerry's has a new ice cream flavor.
I saw that.
Whiskey Biz with Whistle Pig. It's a brown butter bourbon ice cream with whiskey caramel swirls and blonde brownie chunks and topped with white chocolatey ganache and white fudge pieces. And the caramel's made with Whistle Pig's 6-year-old rye, the piggyback rye.
Wow.
That sounds decadent. I am so all over this.
Yeah. You go ahead, man.
That wouldn't... What, you don't want any?
I do. The slight bit of lactose intolerant in me is not happy about it, but I might do it anyway.
Take some pills.
There you go.
What are you doing? Oh, you're warming up your whiskey.
Also, it feels nice.
Are you that cold?
No.
Okay.
Not anymore. Not anymore. Not after a little rye.
Yeah, fair enough. Double Eagle Very Rare is also coming back.
Did it need to, though?
No, but I will say they did something significant that would garner a new release.
Okay.
And they bumped it up from 90 to 101 proof.
Okay. I'll buy into that. I'm all for that.
I'm not opposed to it either. So it's, again, 20 years old, 199 bottles are going to be available. And the 101 proof is actually a nod to Eagle Rare from when it was first released in 1975. And that's what it held for a long time. I think really up until Buffalo Trace purchased it.
Yeah, and they really just went back to that 3 years ago on the BTAC line. I think it's been 3 years.
I would like to see it come to the regular Eagle Rare as well.
I'm scared they would take something away to give it that. Like they would take away the 10-year age statement to say that now it's 101.
Why is that?
I don't know. It just they've moved the 10 from the front to the back, and that feels like a slight way to kind of take it away.
Yeah.
I don't know. It scares me. I like it just the way it is personally, and I like the proof where it's at. If they could add the 101, wouldn't be mad. I'd almost like two different products though.
Yeah. I think that there was a rumor going around that Eagle Rare itself was going to get bumped back up to 101.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any truth to that. And I don't even remember where I heard it first.
Yeah.
But that's I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't know if... I'm not really that connected to the age statement, it's cool to have. It's great to have, especially at this time when nobody else really has age statements on their products. But I don't know if it's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. We've done side-by-side comparisons with small batches with and without.
Yeah.
And really, we usually prefer the small batch.
Mm-hmm. Maker's Mark has also announced their third release of the wood finishing series.
The FAE01?
Yep. Figure out a freaking name. I still don't understand why they can't just figure out a name for this line.
The wood finishing series.
But, like, just call it Spring 2021. And then, like, they've got an FAEO2 that's coming out, too, in the fall. Mm-hmm. So call that one Fall 2021. I don't know. I might be just nitpicking. And at that point, too, like, I mean, I could potentially say the same thing about Old Fits, you know? Because each release has not really got its own name, but it does have a different age statement.
They've already had 2 9 years.
Yeah, see, that's a good point, though.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be some kind of way to discern based on...
There is on, if I remember correctly, it's the tax stamp. It actually says which release it is.
Oh, okay.
But it's small. It's very, like, faint. Like, there's not much to it.
Well, I stand corrected.
But, I mean, like, still, though, call it, like, you know, X release from, you know, fall 20 whatever, and then say it's 9 year or something.
Yeah. 110.3 to 110.6 proof. Going to be hitting shelves on March 1st, and it's going to be around $60. Wow, I poured more of that than I meant to.
It's okay. It's good.
That's what happens.
I like it.
So this is the Braddock Oak Rye.
Yes.
It's a single barrel.
Yes.
92 proof. Tell me more about this, because you brought this to my attention this past week.
Yeah, and you know, I'll be a little blunt about it. A lot of our brands that we have at work are sourced from other distilleries. This one's it's no exception. It's from the Catoctin Creek. Hope I'm saying that right.
I think it's Catoctin.
Catoctin Creek. But I mean, it's Purcellville, Virginia, so it's a Virginia rye. Mm-hmm. No clue what the age is. I know it's 100% rye. This is a single barrel. I mean, it's somewhere or another it made it from that distillery to this bottle. Personally, if you like 100% rye, it's really tasty. There's some notes on it that might come off just a little young. But, I mean, the finish is where it's at, man. Yeah. If you kind of chew on it a little bit and then really let that finish it, it's tasty. It makes me want to try some of their actual products from Catoctin Creek.
Yeah,
because I want to see what they're about. So I mean it was a good pickup. A lot of the ryes that we have at work that we have ourselves, I've not been a huge fan of. They're definitely down somebody's avenue. I can, if they tell me that like they want these kind of notes, I can find one that's kind of close to that. Yeah. But this one's been the most down my specific alley.
I got to try it when I visited you on Saturday at Total Wine.
And it was very chilled.
It was chilled. And it was kind of one note. I was really just kind of getting the rye spice, but I'm looking forward to getting into this as is. There's a very prominent coffee note on the nose. Mm-hmm. I mean, it is like smacking me right in the face with it.
Makes a huge difference in a Glencairn instead of a tiny little plastic cup.
That is fair. Oh, there's even like a light. I say light fruit, and I mean that in like the note is light, but the fruit itself is dark on the nose. Kind of a plum almost on the nose.
And the rye spice is crazy present.
Very dominant. Very, very dominant. Holy moly. That's so much better than it was on Saturday.
Yep.
Also, it is oily as heck.
It is very oily.
Wow, look at the legs. How old is it?
I don't know.
Does it say straight?
Just says product of Virginia. Whiskey without the E.
But it just says rye whiskey?
Just says rye.
Fair enough.
I don't know.
But I mean, I guess it's under 2 years then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just using my Sherlock hat here. But if it doesn't say straight, then if this is under 2 years old,
pretty crazy, right? Yeah. And the weird thing is too is like they're not big on descriptors because they have another one that's finished in red wine casks.
That's it? That's crazy.
From Braddock Oak, but Catoctin Creek probably has some that are finished differently.
Yeah. But like, why wouldn't you say which type of red wine?
I don't know. It just says red wine finish. So I'm sure somewhere on there it may say, but it's just funny to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're just like, this is good whiskey. Drink good whiskey. That's all
It
they want
is
you to.
good.
That's all they care about.
Yeah. I'm
And-
pleasantly surprised by this.
Yeah, and especially at 92 proof.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. It really reads like it might be around 100.
Mm-hmm.
Even just based on the mouthfeel.
Yeah.
But it's... I don't know, man. I don't know if I could say that this is under 2 years. Because it drinks like it's much older than that. Maybe in
Yeah.
like the 4 to 6 year old range.
I like it for different reasons than I like New Riff Rye.
Yeah,
too,
absolutely.
which is weird because New Riff Rye, a lot of people are like, oh, it's a 95.5. You're going to get a lot of rye spice. You get lots of rye spice on this. This makes New Riff look like it's barely legal. I mean, it is a lot,
Yeah.
but it's good.
Speaking of New Riff,
Hit me.
they've got a 15-year-old bourbon coming out here soon. It's an MGP bourbon, 15 years old, 100 proof, $200 a bottle.
I mean, I'm having a hard time justifying that.
Here's the thing. All profits will be donated to the Ohio Restaurant Employee Relief Fund and the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. So it's not like it's going right into the pockets of New Riff.
yeah,
Which even if it did, I mean, I'm not that opposed to it. You know, it's a business. But at the same time, I mean, this has a specific purpose behind it, and they're donating all the profits from it.
yeah,
So they're basically just making their money back and then donating whatever they come out on top with.
I'm fine with that. I'm a little more comfortable with that because every year I justify the price of the Parker's Heritage for the same reason that it's getting
Yeah.
donated to a good cause.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what it'd be like because New Riff is not done sourcing. They wanted to get away from sourcing strongly by completely renaming a brand.
Yep.
And getting away from OKI as much as they possibly could.
Well, they didn't just get away from it; they sold the
sold it,
brand
yeah.
OKI. So, and while this has kind of the same roots of it, it's no way associated with OKI. And actually, when I got the press release for it, Tracy, who is a huge friend of the show, and
Yeah.
has done a heck of a lot of stuff connection-wise for us over the past 3 years. She was very specific to say it's not OKI. It's also in no way affiliated with that brand, and they're just trying to distance themselves from it.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's good. I'm.
There's no reason they
excited.
shouldn't be. I mean, they
Yeah.
don't have ownership of it.
You know, is there a picture of it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it in the standard bottle?
Yes.
Oh man, I'm so excited for them to get away from that bottle. I know it's
Really?
beautiful, but if they had a special release, I just want to see it that color scheme on something else. Could you imagine on the Hill Rock bottle that color scheme?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Something cool like that. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. Oh, cool. Okay. So they did get away from it a little bit.
A slight bit, but I mean, it still maintains the same bottle shape. It's just really the label that's different.
I'm struggling with it a little bit
Really?
because the neck tag. Do you see the neck tag?
Yeah, I know.
Or
I know.
okay.
I know. I know where you're going with this. But again, specifically, she said it's not an OKI.
Okay. It's an IKO. No, I'm just giving them a hard time. The
KIO.
bottle's beautiful. I'm sure it's going to be phenomenal. It says it's out of 800. Are they just doing the one run of it?
900 actually.
900?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing the one run, and like I said, it's to go to those the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce and the Ohio Restaurant Employee Relief Fund, and 15-year-old MGP.
Yeah, that's going to be good. I'd love to put that up next to the Calumet 14 and see how they compare.
Sure, absolutely. Hey, speaking of something we talked about like 5 minutes ago, Catoctin Creek, they have a new 2021 release as well. The Catoctin Creek Rabble Rouser. It's another rye. It's a straight rye.
Nice.
Age stated 4 years old, 100 proof, $100 a bottle.
You know,
600 bottles.
so this one right here is just shy of 40. The Braddock Oak.
Oh,
And-
price wise.
Yeah, price wise.
Sorry.
Their products are usually about 50 or so. like they range in anywhere between 40 to like they have one that's like an 85 that's a single barrel that we have in. And I've yet to have anybody that's bought one say that it's not worth the price. They all seem to genuinely enjoy it.
That's great.
Which if they want to charge that much for a 4-year-old and everyone seems happy with it, absolutely.
Yeah.
I am all for it. There's another rye producer I've really been enjoying, Taconic. You had any of their stuff?
No, I've not.
Yeah, they just sent a buddy of mine some bourbon cream of theirs. And if it's a rye bourbon cream, I'm curious to try that out.
Interesting. Also, just want to clarify something Swan said there. When he said paying that much for a 4-year-old, he meant a 4-year-old product, not a 4-year-old child. So, just trying to clear that up there.
Just clearing it up, yep.
Just want to make sure everybody's squared away. Foregate has a new finished rye coming out this year as well.
Who's surprised?
Might be out already. 7-year-old MGP rye, 56.7%. What is that, 113.4?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
I think so.
What's it finished in?
Maybe it's 103.4. I don't know. It is finished in casks that first held ruby port and then rum. So it's a double finish.
That's very close to the Dovetail.
Mm-hmm.
They're just missing the
Cabernet
Cabernet barrels.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to try it. We need to get Foregate on the show anyway. I interviewed Bob, who's one of their owners.
Yeah.
For the Repeal Day Expo. So
yeah.
My brain has just been not working today at all.
The only thing I want to see from them right now, honestly, other than just these, keep doing your limited releases. Not saying they're not good. Everyone loves them.
You want to see a wide release.
I want to see a wide release of just a generic, like maybe a 5-year-old product that is approachable. You know how, like a Confiscated.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see them do something comparable to Confiscated. Because I mean, you're looking at $250 to $300, and then the Confiscated's around $100 to $129.99 ish. I just want to see that kind of version of Foregate, so I can try it without having to dump a ton of money in it.
So I was right. It's 113.4 proof. Did I say the price? $185.
Yikes!
They're expensive, man. I mean, I've not seen anything that's really been below 150, if that.
Yeah, I'm not either. But they do a lot of good stuff, and I'm sure that finishing's not cheap. They've got so many different finishings.
And just over 1,400 bottles. Paul Sutton Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey is available in March. Straight bourbon from Kentucky, non-age stated, 100 proof, $64 a bottle. Going to be for sale in Florida, Kentucky, and Texas, as well as online. And it's actually made at Wilderness Trail. So,
nice.
Fermented using a sweet mash and matured for at least 4 years. The grains come from D River Ranch in Alabama. I'd give this one a try.
Yeah.
It's a bit expensive for me. But
I think we do need
to
to get used to just kind of the generic bourbon inflation. It's just
I
getting
agree.
there.
I agree. And in some ways, I'm dreading it. Because I never, I said to Lucy at one point, it's a good thing I didn't get into the Scotch because the really good stuff is, consistently like $85 plus.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like we might be getting to that point with bourbon as well. And yeah, I'm just kind of coming to terms with it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's why at the top of the show you were like, hey, listen, I'm just drinking my rare breed and my this pick and that pick. And I mean, just... And do you?
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, I am consistently falling back on products that I have a lot of familiarity with.
Yeah.
Or single barrels. And, like, the good stuff gets saved.
Mm-hmm.
Because it should be. That being said, I've had a hard time trying to stay away from the Knob Creek 12-year cast strength.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just...
unbelievably good.
It's ridiculous. If you guys get any more of that in at work... let me know, and I'll be there on my lunch break.
Okay. I can do that.
Let's see. Any more releases? Bedtime bourbon? Huh? It's a straight bourbon from Kentucky, 5 years old, 90 proof, $69. For sale in Kentucky only 1,000 bottles. Distilled in Bardstown, bourbon's aged for 5 years. It was bottled on February 16th, 2021. What does that matter?
I don't know. Some people like specificity, I guess.
Scored 90 points with Whiskey Advocate. I don't know. Maybe we'll pick it up. I really don't care. How about some labels from the TTB?
Hit me with those.
We've got us another 15-year-old product. We got a couple of these this week.
Yeah,
as
we harped on this on on an episode when I was still on like a couple months back.
Yeah.
And it was just a 15-year-old after 15-year-old at a $200 price tag.
$300.
Yeah, over and over again.
Yeah. This one is a 15-year-old 92 proof Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in Japanese Mizunara oak Shoshu barrels. Limited edition. The World Whiskey Society. So, Kentucky Samurai edition. I find that really funny. No way that's going to be less than about $250.
No.
Whistle Pig has their Whistle Pig has their Old World Rye, the 12-year-old. It used to be Canadian rye, I believe. No, excuse me. It used to be an American rye. Now it's Canadian rye.
Okay.
It's 86 proof, wine cask finished. You doing all right over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just the 100% rye. It gets to you a little, warms your chest a little.
Whew. Here's an interesting one: Barrel Seagrass. It's a rye whiskey finished in Martinique rum, Madeira, and apricot brandy barrels. Placeholder, they say, is 118.4 proof. I'm sure that's going to change. Distilled in Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, and Canada.
Okay.
I'm interested.
Yeah, I mean, I tried the Armida. No, I actually really liked that
Yeah.
one.
Mm-hmm. This is one that has been kind of floating around for the past couple of weeks, and we just haven't had a chance to talk about it. But Square 6, which is an Evan Williams high rye bourbon that's only available at the Evan Williams Experience in Louisville, 35% rye, 13% malted barley. So high rye, high malted barley for this. I have got to try this.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. I'll make a special trip to Louisville just to pick this bottle up. 95 proof. I gotta have this bottle. I
It's
imagine.
going to be interesting.
I don't think that it's going to be too expensive though. I feel like it's going to be one of those that's probably in the $50 to $65 range. I would imagine. I mean, if it's any more than that, I'll be fairly surprised. But I get the feeling this is going to be pretty accessible to the people who are on the bourbon trail and trying to pick up a unique bottle to bring home.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Yeah, we'll certainly see. Jefferson's Ocean, aged at sea. No, this is not what we were just talking about. It's a straight bourbon, wheated mash bill, single barrel, 90 proof.
Okay. You know, I thought it was really funny. I looked into this company called Ingram. Have we talked about them at all?
I don't think so.
So Ingram, their whole thing is they actually will take their barrels and put it on a barge and put it down. I forget what river it is, but they use that as their aging technique. They have yet to mention anything about drawing inspiration from Jefferson's, and actually deny them being any sort of like motivation to try this out.
Really?
Yeah, and it's very strange.
Huh.
I would be like, yeah, that's something they pioneered and we wanted to try that. But no, they claim that the humidity and elevation and stuff like messes with it more so than necessarily like just the barrels being sloshed back and forth.
Whatever. I mean, let people do what they think, but it's just you gotta be upfront and honest about where you get your ideas.
Yeah.
Anyway, two more, and then we're gonna get back to the rye. Hardin's Creek,
Yeah.
108 proof, 15-year-old Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey from Jim Beam.
Yeah. I saw this one. I was super pumped about this one.
I am confused yet excited. And here's the reason I'm confused. This feels like a pivot to a new product without really fully committing it to being a Jim Beam label.
Yeah, there's also just a lot of things about this label that just
There's a
don't
lot of
make
stuff
sense.
going on.
Yeah. Distilled from 3 grains. Forward oak. What is that?
I don't know.
I do like them returning to 184 months aged. I think that's just cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
pretty
know.
awesome.
That's pretty cool. I mean, heck, who still does that? Pretty much just the Van Winkles. 10 summers old,
Mhm.
you know? But
Yeah, I had to check my math. It is 15 years old.
double distilled?
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
Column distillation.
Yeah. 108 proof. I think we said that.
Yeah, it's just a lot.
There's a lot going on. Yeah. How long have we been away from each other and we're doing this crap?
Too long.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, I am looking forward to this. I'm not sure what it's going to be like, but I'm certain that it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jim Beam, Basil Hayden 10-year looks like it's getting a new label as well. Still keeping that 80 proof, though.
Yeah.
I like this label a lot, though.
I do. I'm curious to see what it looks like because they've got this tear on the left side of this label, and it almost reminds me a little bit of the old Bakers. Like the really old Bakers that they had.
I imagine they're keeping this in the same bottle, though.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
That's not anything that they would change, especially with how consistent they've been with that bottle.
Yeah, they have changed that coloring scheme
Yeah.
and everything multiple times.
But this does read like instead of that wraparound label, like it's actually going to be on the bottle itself.
yeah, it
this
does.
time. So, I don't know. I mean, it could be just the styling of it in the TTB, but yay, it's different.
It's different, yeah.
I don't know what else to say. Like, it's the same exact product with a new label. I like the label. I think it looks good.
I think there was a pretty significant price jump from last year to this year for the Basil Hayden 10. Like,
Was there?
yeah, I think it was almost $20.
I didn't know that.
So they might be, we're slapping a new label on it, putting in a new thing, and kind of trying to make it different than it was.
Stang Braddock.
Yeah,
It's so good.
yeah. It's pretty tasty, man.
That's all for the news. Do you want to actually review this one?
How about we review something else?
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
The next one that was going to
Yeah.
be on the table. I'm excited to try this one.
you should be, man.
I am honestly, legitimately excited to try this.
Yeah. So
And you go ahead.
we didn't get. Whew, that was a stiff pour for me.
We still got last call, Swan.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be sipping on this probably through last call.
That's a solid 0.75 ounce.
Yeah. So Jack Daniel's put out their barrel proof rye release in the 750s, the nice kind of square bottles, the squatty ones that are super nice, limited edition. Everyone was chasing after them, bourbon drinker or not. They were going after them. Didn't get that. Couldn't find that. But if you go to Tennessee, they have these things called Tennessee Tasters, and they basically just have experimental releases from Jack Daniel's. And this is no different. It's a barrel proof rye. This one, I believe, is 127 proof and some change.
Yeah, 127.6.
Yeah, and a lot of the releases they've done with the current barrel proof rye have been 130 plus, but it's close, And I think they have this is like a yearly release for them. And they
Yeah.
changed the proof up a little bit.
I find it interesting. Well, I didn't really have anything I was going to say about that. I guess what I was really going to say is that this is not a single barrel proof
Yeah.
rye. This is just a straight up barrel proof rye. I mean, I'm guessing it's small batched in some regard, but the color on it is beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice.
Nice deep amber, I guess.
And I believe it actually has a mash bill on the back. So this is a 70.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I apologize.
Yeah, this is a 70% rye.
Yeah, 70% rye, 18% corn, 12% malted barley. And this is selection number 4 that came out in spring of 2019. So we're a couple years behind on reviewing this one, but that's okay.
We're getting there. I'm surprised they still had this on the shelf.
Yeah, me too. Well, hello.
I've had plenty of this.
Oh my.
Already. So this is more of like a Perry Perry reacts kind of thing.
What is that note on the note? I know that note, and I'm...
Honeycomb.
Yes, but there's... Yes. Okay. No, that's exactly what it was. But there is a little bit of a perfume note on there, too. Like, not exclusively, like, spray perfume. But there is, like, a sweet kind of flowery note that I'm finding somewhere along there.
It's almost like cinnamon rolls before they've been cooked.
Yeah, doughiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not for everybody, but I really like the nose on this. Mm-hmm. I could see where this might have been a little bit flat the first time you opened it.
It was. It was a little bit flat the first time.
Yeah. I totally get that.
What you're not ready for, though, is the palate.
I fully believe you.
So before you take a sip, this is... You know how you have those that are sometimes just kind of a roller coaster?
Yeah. It's a bomb.
Go ahead and take a sip.
Okay. That is a mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm. That's a tongue punch right there.
Amen. Wow. It's almost like a watermelon blow pop.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
Yeah, it's got that kind of sweetness to it.
Yeah, it's almost an artificial sweetness to it, like added sugar, which I don't dislike. I mean, it's a flavor I'm familiar with, especially from my childhood. But it doesn't fully read like a rye whiskey.
No, it doesn't. The only thing it's missing is just kind of that, like, it's got bite throughout.
Yeah.
And bourbon, usually you start getting a little bit of like a bite towards the mid-palate finish area. And this has it just throughout. That's it.
It's solid, though.
It is.
The finish is like infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing is, I'm not really getting much of a Kentucky hug, or I guess Tennessee hug in this case.
Yeah.
But and the only reason I bring it up is just because I was kind of expecting it based on the proof.
Yeah.
But it's incredibly enjoyable. It's really accessible, too, for how high of a proof it is.
It is, yeah. I've actually had a couple people try this, and everyone has said the same thing. It's not stupid, hard to wrap your head around at the proof.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Please, 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 please. Blind Chad with this. Please.
Okay, I can do that.
Don't tell him what it is until he's tried it.
Well, he's had it before.
Has he had... Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had it on one of his lives.
No.
But, I mean, still, I can take him, a little sample of this.
Because he's just so adamant that he's not going to like Jack Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's Tennessee. I'm like, buddy. Like, come on, man. It's real good.
It's real good.
It's real good. What's the price on this, by the way?
$37.
That's a buy all day from me.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Twice on Sundays. Oh, and like the more it's opening up, I'm getting like tobacco and leather on there too.
Yeah.
Holy crap. This would be great with a cigar.
Make it happen, Captain. You go for it.
It's opened up a lot just since it's been sitting in my glass.
Mm-hmm.
And where it started out very sweet, now it started to get into the darker notes. And this makes me really want to get the single barrel proof rye.
Yeah.
Really, really badly want to get it. But I just haven't seen it anywhere. I don't know if I'm going to see it anywhere unless somebody has a bottle out of state and I happen to stumble across it.
Yeah.
But even still, I don't know if anybody's really going to be trying to get rid of this bottle or that bottle for this matter.
No, they probably won't. I can't imagine anybody letting go of this bottle. But so what are you gonna start ranking the nose, man? What are you feeling for the nose? Because it's complex.
Nose is a solid 4. Really. I think that where it's opened up and evolved, I think it's really introduced a flavor profile in the nose that I just wasn't expecting from a rye whiskey. And in this case, it's really exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
What about
I
you?
think I would agree.
Yeah.
A 4. I'd probably go 3.5. Just because I honestly have I don't know. It can be a little harsh depending on where, you have to find that
Sure.
perfect spot in the glass.
I get that.
It's a little harsh. But that being said, that's the only part throughout this entire journey that is this whiskey that it's harsh.
It's so enjoyable. It's almost savory in some places, too.
It is. Yeah. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I love the honeycomb. Honeycomb.
Love that honeycomb
I like the honeycomb on
with
it.
a hard B.
Yeah.
Honeycomb.
I don't know. I know what it is. I think there's a slight T bit on it that I'm having issues with.
I get the tea more on the front end of the palate.
Yeah, for me on the nose, I get a bit of a black tea, and I'm just not a huge fan of that.
I want to make sure I gave that back to you before you left so that it didn't get accidentally left here and then drank.
Gotcha. That's fair. So I'd give it a 3.5.
What about the palate for you?
Oh, palate's up there. It's probably a good 4.5.
I don't disagree with you. I'm going to get myself in trouble. I am leaning towards the notion that this might be the best Jack Daniels I've ever had. And I've had some really, really good single barrel proof whiskeys from them. But I think this rye is something special. And I totally agree with you. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think the finish, like I said, it just keeps going and going and going. But it does kind of taper off away from some of the more pleasant notes almost and kind of starts getting to a little bit of like a stale bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not fully upset with it, but I would still like to keep finding something new with it. And I am kind of getting like a cherry note. Like a cherry syrup almost.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Towards the back end. It's the weakest part of it, but at the same time I don't not enjoy it.
It reminds me a lot of the cherry ale 8.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give the finish a 3.5.
I gave it a 3
Yeah.
on the finish. Yeah, I want it to have the hug, and I usually associate that with that. We've not had anything super high proof today, so I was kind of hoping this would just light me on fire a little. Didn't really do that. That being said, the finish is long. It is crazy long. I've had finishes on Booker's that lasted half the time this thing did.
Absolutely. I can't believe how good this is.
Yeah.
Truly, I can't believe how good this is. Price, what'd you say, 37?
I think it was $37.99. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that you can get something of about the same value in a $7.50 for that price.
You got to start looking at it as what's on the rye side of the aisle, though.
Yeah.
What can you get on the rye side of the aisle for? Basically, you're looking at $80. That's going to be a barrel-proof rye of this caliber.
Honestly, nothing. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently, too. There's not much rye that's close to or over 120 proof.
No.
I mean, this is really kind of a one-of-a-kind deal. And so I think it depends on my mood or what I'm kind of looking for when I go in. But at the same time, like I said, this is a really, really well-rounded, solid product.
Yeah. I gave it a 4.
I did too.
Yeah, and the only reason I gave it a 4 is it would be a 5 if it was in line with their other stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think the single barrel cast strength is what, like 65, 60, 65?
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing that's just crossed my mind. But you're also kind of paying a premium for the fact that this is a one-time release. You know? I mean, this is a one-of-a-kind product, essentially. And so that's almost a steal at under $40
Yeah.
for a 375.
It is, man.
Or
And
750. Is it 200 or 375?
it's a 375.
Okay.
Yeah, and they actually had more. They had a Jamaican allspice. They also had, I forget what the other one was, but it was just, they all looked nice and good.
I think that you did the right thing and got this one.
I think the other ones would have been interesting.
Yeah.
But this one, I was like, that's a cop out for getting the full nice bottle, you know? I'll get it.
Sure. Well, my score is a solid 16 out of 20. Would you give it?
15.
Yeah. If you can find it, pick it up. If you see it on secondary, I'm not advocating for the secondary market, but I don't know if I could turn away from it. I'd be hard pressed.
These are pretty readily available in Tennessee. You could probably go into about 5-10 stores, and somebody's going to have at least one Tennessee taster. It may not be the rye, barrel-proof rye, but they'll probably have one.
Yeah. All right. That does it for the review. I just realized that I teased on Patreon a story that I was going to tell on the podcast.
Gotcha.
And I haven't done it yet. So before we get to tips and bits, let me regale you with a tale that just blew my mind and didn't make any sense. So last Friday was my mom's birthday,
Yeah.
right? And we were driving home, and we were driving down Winchester Road in Lexington, and we see this dog run across the road.
Oh, God.
And Lucy and I are notorious for finding lost dogs. Lost animals, really, in general. Like, we had a litter of kittens show up at our house in Richmond. Berlioz, who is one of our cats now, was a stray that we took in. Like, returned countless dogs to people's homes.
Yeah.
And this dog, this was a husky, runs across the road, and Lucy and I were like, we gotta help it. Because it had collars on. And when I say collars, I mean like it had one collar around its neck and had another one that was hanging off of that collar. We were like, if it were our dog, we'd want somebody to do the same thing for us. Right?
Yeah.
So we go and it's in like a tow lot, like a car towing lot. Mm-hmm. And it's super, super friendly. And it turns out it's a boy. I'm like, giving him commands and telling him to sit and, stay. And he's just very receptive. And he waited for me and like came over and he sniffed me and everything. And he was good to go. So we get him in the car. We're driving around trying to figure out where he might have come from. We kind of head towards where he ran across from. There wasn't really any houses that were over there. He wasn't acting like we were getting close to a house either. And so we were like, well, we can't bring him home. Because Marie, who is our Chihuahua Shih Tzu mix, is very dominant. I mean, she is in control all the time. And we were like, we just can't bring a stray dog into our house. And so we're calling the Humane Society, we're calling animal shelters, we're calling whomever we can. Like, we even called her dad at one point, and we're like, can you please take this dog until the morning? And then we'll come and pick him up, and we'll figure out what to do with him. And he couldn't do it. He had to work on Saturday morning. And so we're like, okay, well, maybe he's microchipped. So go to a vet. It's like a 24-hour hospital. Vet hospital. Scan him, no chip. And we're like, crap, what are we going to do with this dog? I finally am like, I'm just going to get on Facebook and see if anybody's posted on Lost and Found saying that they are missing a husky. The second group that I got on, 3 posts down, was this exact freaking dog that was sitting in my lap. I kid you not. And I'm reading the description, where he came from, same side of town, same shopping center and everything. and it's got a phone number to call the owners from. But it's also got the dog's name listed. Sure enough, this husky that we just happened to pick up in the middle of the night in Lexington was named Bourbon.
That's beautiful.
Of all the dogs in the world that we could have run into, we found the one dog, the one husky that was named Bourbon. And I started talking to him, like using his name and everything. And he's like super receptive. He's like, oh my gosh, you know who I am. He was so excited because I was going, hey, Bourbon. And he just couldn't believe it. And I called the number and the lady's like, yeah, that's our dog. I was like, come get your dog. Please. But of all the dogs that we could have found, his name was Bourbon.
That's fantastic.
It was unbelievable. I'll have to post a picture on social media of me with this dog because he was super sweet. He was a big snuggly boy.
Yeah.
But it was funny. Anyway, coincidental story of the...
That's... How do you even...
I don't know. The universe just found the right person, the right people for him.
Yeah.
In that that given time. I like looked at my phone and looked at Lucy like a couple times back and forth, and I was like, "You're not gonna believe what the name of this dog is." She was like, "What?" I was like, "His name's Bourbon."
That's. Oh my God. I'm trying to fathom the possibility of that happening.
I honestly, and yes, we are in Kentucky. You know, there's millions of dogs.
People name dogs here like after. Weller and heck,
Booker.
Yeah, Booker. I've seen that one quite a bit. I think there's even a dog that my stepbrother owns. It's named Blanton's or Blanton.
That's good.
Yeah. So,
but just the odds is just straight up Bourbon.
That's fantastic.
I don't know what those odds look like. Anyway, that's my random story for the week.
Now we got tips and bits.
We do have tips and bits where we recommend things that are not always bourbon related. Sometimes they are. But Swan, what are your tips and bits this week?
Tips and bits, man. I got you on this week.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Seasonings for chicken. Are you ready? Are you ready? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
I'm kidding. Mostly, actually, I found this company that. I'm gonna have to look them up and make a post on our Facebook. But it's they ship out like red pepper flakes, but it's very specific chilies.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and so you can get like poblano and all sorts of other stuff. So there's like a smoky and salty one. There's like a 4-pepper blend that's super spicy. I've got one that's got like habaneros and like Thai chili and has like a Thai blend, and then there's like a full green pepper blend. Those things are awesome. You can put them on everything, and it makes it just infinitely better.
Yeah.
And so I'll post the company, but their stuff, fantastic. Only thing is, I'm used to putting a ton of red pepper flake on stuff, and
are you
so
adding more?
I'm just dumping this stuff on there, right? A little goes a long way. A little goes a very long way with some of those. So it got to me pretty fast. Learned my lesson.
Fair
Know
enough.
for next time.
I did I don't think I've talked about this on the show yet, but I on a whim a while back bought like pre-packaged tonkatsu ramen. Mm-hmm. I'm a big tonkatsu fan. And I like just, got a hankering for it one day. And I was like, well, I need some protein with it too. And so I like, I used some air fried chicken tenders, but the soup itself, I like doctored the crap out of. I used like butter to thicken up the broth. I used some squeezable ginger to give it a little bit more authentic flavor as well. And then soy sauce and some Frank's Red Hot, which actually turned out really good. I need to try it with sriracha sometime too.
Keep it a little more traditional.
Yeah, exactly. But I also, so there's always a sauce that comes with tonkatsu
Yeah.
as well, and I just was kind of approximating it based on what I had in our fridge, and we had this like garlic aioli, and then we had teriyaki sauce, and so I mixed the two together, and it was like spot on what you would get in a restaurant. I was I was kind of like impressed with myself that it turned out as good as it did, but like I'm gonna have a hard time ordering tonkatsu from restaurants now, like ordering in, you know. But
Yeah.
that's my cooking advice for the week.
I'm sending you how you felt, like a picture of how you felt when you did this.
Is it that stupid dancing crab you showed
No,
me?
no. You're just like, you just look at yourself and you're like, chef.
Chef.
But it's spelled SHEF. Nice.
Stonks.
Stonks. Yeah.
I got an artist that I've been listening to a little bit recently.
Who you got?
Arlo Parks.
Oh, yeah. She's wonderful.
She's incredible. Mm-hmm. I was like, I felt like I'd been hit in the face with a brick the first time I listened to her.
Yeah.
And it was just like she came on the radio, and it's funny because the night before I was finishing up editing and I was trying to like kind of, just calm myself down from it. Because, I'm sitting in front of a computer and I'm, trying to be creative in some respect and, do all that. My brain's working overtime. And so I was looking for just lo-fi guitar music, which the lo-fi guitar music that's out there sucks.
Yeah.
It's not good. Lo-fi hip-hop, great. I enjoy the heck out of it. And sometimes, they incorporate a lot of guitar into it. But what I was specifically looking for was that style in the form of guitar music.
Yeah.
And then get in the car the next day and Arlo Parks is on, and I was like, this is exactly freaking what I was looking for last night. It was just totally serendipitous.
Yeah.
And I'm such a fan of what she's doing, man.
Yeah, she did a collaboration video with Glass Animals.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah, and it's
I
crazy
am all
good.
over that.
It's crazy good.
Oh, you might have actually brought her up on the show before, now that I think about it.
Yeah, she's
This happens
amazing.
with me all the time.
It's all good.
Either way, I'm a big fan. I want to start doing some lo-fi hip hop guitar music as well, because I just like it. It's not a difficult market to kind of get into, and like nobody's doing that guitar side of it as like their shtick. So I want to. I don't want to say capitalize on it, but I want to get into it.
Yeah.
And like yesterday morning, I got out of the shower and like that was all I wanted to listen to was lo-fi hip hop, and it's so calming. It's so soothing.
Yeah. I mentioned that also on one of the tips and bits.
Lo-fi hip hop.
Yeah.
Well,
It was like probably a good 40, 50 episodes ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think I looked it up because of you.
Yeah. Oh,
Honestly.
dude, I love it.
But
There's
I'm
one that
so
I just,
into it now.
I just leave on a YouTube.
Chill Cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I listen to.
I
as
just
well.
leave it on, man.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be, because it's just like it's almost bare minimum when it comes to production. Knox, can we not knock over bottles, please?
No.
Continues to try to knock over bottles. That's fun. That's fun for me. Anyway, it's easy listening. I enjoy it. It's a great just kind of background music to stay chill. Get stuff done. Anyway.
It's just enough noise, man.
Tips and bits.
Tips and bits.
That's how we end tips and bits now, I guess. Hey, we don't have any listener tips and bits this week, but please send them in to @mybourbonpod or thisismybourbonshop@gmail.com. We're accepting submissions. Please send us your listener tips and bits. It can be anything, literally anything, as long as it's not like murder a guy.
Yeah, please don't do that.
Don't commit a crime. Don't do a murder, please. Well, we're going to get out of here in just a minute, but thank you all so much for listening to this week's episode. Swan, it's been so good to have you back. Finally.
Yeah.
Man, it's
good
been
to be
just
back, man.
Just 1,000 years.
Got to figure out how to talk into the mic again.
Lucy last week was turned away talking into the mic.
It's
which was
hard,
fun.
man. You don't realize how such a simple task can go so wrong.
I guess I'm so used to it at this point. It's just
Yeah.
like second nature.
No, this is my one time a week.
Swan, where can people find you on social media?
I'm at SwanTBF on Instagram. That's it.
Yeah, I am at PRitter1492 on all social media platforms. The show itself is at My Bourbon Pod on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can leave us a 5-star rating and review. We've actually got a new review this week, Swan. I'm super excited for you to read this one. You missed our Giggle Fest review last week,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I've come to terms with it. Not everybody's,
Not everybody's going to like the thing
not
you do, man.
everybody's going to like the thing you do, man. I laugh a lot, and that's just kind of how it is. But this one comes from Piano Player 2292. Get these guys some more ECBP. He said, I know I'm around 3 episodes behind, catching up over the weekend, but I just listened to Swan's Hostile Takeover, and I agree you need more ECBP. Maybe I'll send a few blind that I'm pretty sure you haven't tried yet.
Heck yes.
Not opposed to that. Love the podcast, the convivial and overall chill nature, everything about it. Keep it up. Also, thanks for introducing me to It's Bourbon Night. Have to catch up on them too. That's weird. That's strange to me. That is
Usually we flip those. Oh my god.
so totally opposite of how that's actually supposed to go. But anyway, overall, if you love bourbon podcasts but hate when they get too stodgy and too seized up, this is the antidote. Just a few guys chatting about bourbon, blind tastings, news, and fun listening, rather. Cheers. From David, a.k.a. Whiskey in My Wedding Ring. Well,
Nice.
David, thank you so much for reviewing the show. If you do want to review the show, you can do it in the Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Yeah.
Well, check it out. You can find all of our apparel and merchandise at bourbonshop.threadless.com. Skateboards. Still nobody's
Skateboards.
bought a skateboard yet.
It's a shame.
It's a real shame.
Steven Sussman, we got you.
I'm starting to get the feeling that nobody listens to this part of the podcast. Nobody goes all the way to the end.
I'm sure they do. There's a few people that have mentioned the skateboard.
All
Just
right.
haven't
Well,
bought
if
it.
somebody buys a skateboard, then, we'll leave a special note for you in the Threadless package. Lucy's getting a bottle of wine. Bye, Lucy. You can find, though, our glassware at whiskeyambitions.com.
Yes, you
Or
can.
this
We
is-
still have a few of those left.
We do indeed. Whiskeyambitions.com. This is my bourbon drinking glass, Glencairns. They're super cool, super sleek. I really, really like them. I think they turned out perfect. Let's see what else. I go live every Thursday on YouTube, youtube.com/This Is My Bourbon Podcast at 8 o'clock Eastern. But like I said, I am doing the Sub-a-Thon this Saturday. I'm excited. I don't know what your work schedule's like, but maybe if you get off early enough, you can pop in for a minute.
The sad thing is I don't either. I got to figure that out. I know what I work tomorrow, and that's always that's as far as I go.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm sure you could pop in for a minute.
Yeah,
maybe,
at some point. I'll be in the break room.
if we're lucky enough.
Yeah.
You can send questions or comments to thismybourbonshop@gmail.com along with your listener tips and bits. You can also tweet those to us. I don't care. I'm happy to check all those out. And then last but not least, I think, patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support the show. But for as little as $5 a month, you get bonus content, including the pregame and the last call. Pregame comes out every Tuesday. Last call comes out every Thursday, for the most part, unless I'm a little behind on editing. Anyway, we appreciate all of our Patreon members over there. You guys are
Absolutely.
great. You're always the best. You always are very supportive. Keep me in check. And we are going to see some restructuring of some of the Patreon tiers here soon to reflect some of our future endeavors. But I don't think you guys are going to be too upset about any of that. To be quite honest. No, I think you're going to enjoy it. Anyway, Swan, that does it for this week's episode. Let's do some last call-in here in a second, if you're okay with that.
Don't know if I am, to be honest, man. I'm falling asleep. I have been declining the past 10 minutes bad.
Well, regardless, we'll see what's going to happen here soon. We'll see you all next week. Until then, I'm Perry.
And I'm Swan.
And this is my Bourbon Podcast.